Hello. Hello, everyone. And, Happy New Year. Oh, yeah. A new year. I don't know, 2021. Oh, it's still weird. I mean, still don't know what's gonna happen with COVID and all. Well, I guess we have to get used to it somehow. Anyway, we can start off this new year with the great Chronicles. So we're still defending Rei, our best friend. Well, Sato-san's best friend. But we have a good idea of what happened. So I guess it should be fairly easy. Alright, I think we should get into it then. Oh yeah, we're at the testimony. Alright. I have to remember what voice this guy had. Okay. Oh yes, I stabbed the Englishwoman. It is that very fact that proves I'm innocent. Because why would I have bothered to stab the woman if I'd already poisoned her? Hello, Mrs. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Oh, thank you. When I heard the student girl and that pompous English murderer arguing, it got my goat. If the court weren't going to punish Brett for what she did, someone else would have to see justice done. Oh, it's a weird reason. So, you admit it then? That everything happened as I described? That you are the one who stabbed Miss Brett in the back through the reed screen? So, Mrs., how are you doing? On the first day of this new year? Oh, you can blame this miserable country of ours. Alright, thank you. How are you? Oh, I'm fine. Tomorrow I'm gonna resume work on Monday. That's alright. Ah, yeah. Well, you know, the vacations have to end at some point, I guess. A country that bows to the pressure of foreign powers and let murderers walk free. What kind of future can a country like that have? That's why I did it. I did what our pathetic leaders didn't have the guts to do. Slap bang in the middle of that charming lady's back. I plunged the blade of sweet justice right in there. He seems weirdly proud of that. As someone who spends his life seeing that the truth is told, I feel really awful about giving false information in my testimony before. But as it turns out, there was somebody else who had it in for the victim and got to her before me. Okay, so Mrs., I don't know if you want to know, but I'm pretty sure I know how she died. That woman, how she got poisoned. That's right, you guessed it. That pretty little student girl. Now there's a woman after my own heart. You're implicating Ray again. She's the one who gave the poison to the Englishwoman and ended her pitiful existence. And suddenly, snap! This Jonah here is off the hook. The argument is sound, certainly. If the witness had administered the poison himself, he need only have waited for it to take effect. Subsequently stabbing the victim in the back would have been entirely nonsensical.
And therefore, this reporter had nothing to do with the poisoning. Yes, it's all quite logical.
Oh, that's right, it is. Logical and true. I'm glad you've all seen the light. Well, okay, he didn't poison the woman. That's for sure. It doesn't mean that Lay did it. Justice at last! This is unbelievable. And after I made so much progress in proving his guilt, is he going to get away with it now? Think of Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san. They never stopped looking for a way forward until the judge's final gavel. Very well then, counsel. Proceed with what I assume to be your final cross-examination in this trial. Yes, Your Excellency. Complete innocence. Oh yes, I stabbed the Englishwoman, and it's the very fact that proves that I'm innocent. Okay. So, you do admit that you had murderous intentions toward Miss Brett then? Ah! The woman's very existence offended my sense of justice. Your sense of... He's claiming some sort of righteous indignation? She was pure evil, a cold-blooded killer who'd committed murder right here on our Empire's soil. But did our good-for-nothing government do anything? Not a chance, so I had to step in. Fly the flag of justice, put things right for the people. Yes, it was my civic duty. That's what drove me to it. That's a good excuse, huh? So, in summary, murderous intentions then. Whatever you want to call it, the point is this. That Englishwoman was a blight, so I had to do what was right for society.
Yet a real wrong was done by the student girl in the dock, a crime for which she must pay.
Obviously, because the poisoning was nothing to do with me at all. I'm not sure it's totally true. Because why would I have bothered to stab the woman if I'd already poisoned her? So you still maintain that you didn't give the poison to the victim? Obviously. That'd be like putting a belt on your shoulders when you were already wearing braces like these. There's actually a saying in French where you have a belt and braces. Well, anyway.
The accused administered the poison, following which this witness stabbed the victim. An unforgivable act, certainly, but not one of murder.
The victim was already dead when I killed her.
That crime rests on the accused's shoulders. That is how the law works, you see, Yoko. Who knows, you may even learn something here today.
Two consecutive attempts on her life in the space of minutes. Quite a day for the victim. Look at what he's doing here. He's licking his pen. Do something that evil, and you've got it coming. That's how the law works. The law of reckoning. Oh, that's not the kind of law this court upholds. You will reiterate why you were compelled to stab the victim then, witness? When I heard the student girl and that pompous English murderer arguing, it got my goat.
Hold it!
What exactly were they arguing about? About what happened in that restaurant 9 months ago? That's what. The student girl was laying into the Englishwoman for killing her beloved mentor, Dr. Wilson. Yes. John H. Wilson. A professor of medicine, invited here from England by Professor Mikotoba, no less. Right, but the Englishwoman just jeered.
Her case was to be heard by the British Consular Court in Shanghai, however. There is little doubt that she would simply have been acquitted and sent back to her homeland a free woman.
Oh, it was eating the student girl up inside. You could see it. I really felt for her. What? Is this Ray? Oh, it is.
I can't. I can't stand here and listen to this tribe. Hey. Young girl, you stand accused here. You can't just blurt out whenever you feel like it.
No, you can't. Sorry, but I'm in the middle of some very important testimony here. Just keep quiet and listen.
But this awful man is making all of this up. Susato, please. You have to make them listen. Who is Susato again?
Return to the dock at once, Memba-misama. Memba-misan. We are in the middle of a cross-examination.
Hold it!
Your Excellency, please, I implore you. That journalist is clearly not a trustworthy witness. Exactly, he's a filthy, rotten, black-hearted, bigoted, dirty great peeping Tom.
Whoa, take it easy there.
Please, I really think the court should hear what the defendant has to say. Your Excellency, I see no need whatsoever to entertain the accused's remarks.
I will grant the request of the defense.
But, Your Excellency!
This is likely to be the final cross-examination of these proceedings. As such, I believe it would be ill-advised to stifle the defendant's obvious concerns. So, whilst recognizing that this contravenes regular protocol, I hereby call upon the defendant to speak.
Oh? Thank you so much, Your Excellency. It was nothing to do with Dr. Wilson. We were discussing the stolen poison.
If the court were going to punish Brett for what she did, we have to press that.
Hold it!
The stolen poison that killed the victim, you mean? Ah, I suspected her of being the one who stole it. I mean, just think about how she killed Dr. Woodson.
That's true. Additionally, Miss Brett certainly had knowledge of the new poison. But surely it would be no easy task to steal a highly secret toxin being developed by the government. Indeed, all visitors to the laboratory are thoroughly searched when they leave. Even if a thief managed to avoid being seen by myself or a colleague, getting the poison out would be very difficult.
Oh, that's true. I bested Professor Mikotoba and he agreed to show me the poison when I visited his laboratory.
Oh god, I still have trouble pronouncing that. Laboratory. Okay.
But as I left, I was searched from top to tail.
Miss Brett rather bluntly revealed the existence of the toxin we'd been developing, you see. And since Soseki-san expressed such an interest in it, I felt unable to refuse. Obviously, I gave nothing away, other than the fact that it was an extremely potent substance. Potent potables?
Oh, I'm very ashamed of myself. It's just that I've had a singularly terrible experience with a deadly poison. I wanted to look my old enemy in the eye. Surely you can understand that. To find out if my suspicions were true, I confronted Miss Pratt about the poison. I told her that if there were to be an incident involving it somehow, it would just be the university. It wouldn't just be the university. The military would be dragged into it. The whole government even. It would be a complete disaster.
And how did Miss Brett respond to your concerns?
She just curled those beautiful lips of hers and said she didn't know the first thing about it. In English, actually.
Ah, yes. Minimo-san. One small question, if you don't mind. I do mind. Good to see I'm busy. Clearly you were outside the beach hut listening in whilst the defendant and Miss Brett were conversing. Oh, he's going to ask if he speaks English. Presumably then, it was you who wrote this article about what you'd heard. Oh. Exclusive. Deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. The story was published in this morning's edition of Shoyu News. The details are too accurate for it to have been written by anyone else. Sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh yes, look at this. The entire article. It's almost what I said to Miss Brett, word for word.
Oh!
Well, Minimo-san.
Uh-huh. Nothing to say, eh? As a journal and as a citizen of a free country, I don't have to reveal my sources. That's a founding principle of minimoism.
Father's clearly right about this. That reporter did write that article, and he based it on what he overheard from us at the hut. The details of the poison article have been updated in the court record. Wait, an article about poison that was stolen from a laboratory at Yume University. The reporter, Minimo-san, based it on information he gleaned by eavesdropping. Okay. So, that's what it was all about. You were trying to cover up the fact that you were listening in. That's why you came up with that stinking story about me arguing with her.
Shut up. My stories never stink. Look, whatever you say, little girl, it doesn't alter the facts. Your Excellency, there's something I want to say, and I want it to go on record. Very well. You may amend your formal testimony. Ah.
What's going on? Are you okay?
The point is, if you'd poison someone, there'd be no reason to then go and stab the person as well. Oh.
Can I?
Wait. What do we have here? I think I'm going to present a picture of Lei stabbing the victim then. I don't know. Wait. Uh, I'm gonna try it. Well, we still have 5 chances.
Objection!
Oh, I don't think it's okay. Oh, it doesn't work. Your Excellency, I must object to the witness's last statement. And the evidence you thrust in my direction is supposed to prove your point. I apologize. I did present it rather more forcefully than I intended to. You will kindly refrain from these overly exuberant outbursts, Counsel. Be they verbal or material. He really put me in my place there. Oh dear, that's not it. The point is... Oh, I need to press that, by the way.
Hold it!
Perhaps you doubted the efficacy of the poison and sought to make sure your victim would die. That's horse dung. What? That would be like pouring pepper on your Chinese ramen before you'd even tasted it. Completely reckless. Although, it might surprise you to learn that I am a bit of an impetuous pepper pourer, as it happens. Once the victim had taken the poison, she would have been only minutes away from death. And yet, this man then proceeded to stab her in the back as well. There has to have been a good reason for that. If it was a reporter who gave the poison to Miss Brett, then clearly he must have done it prior to Ray entering the hut. Oh yes, that's undeniable. But between him leaving the hut and the victim being stabbed, there was one very crucial change in the situation. Sorry? What change? The reporter overheard the conversation between Lei and the Englishwoman. Ah, yes, that's it. That's when Minimo-san first found out the exact nature of the poison he'd used. That could be the key here. If the victim had unwittingly taken the poison already, the reporter would have had no reason to stab her. If the victim had unwittingly taken the poison already, he wouldn't have known, maybe, I don't know. On the face of it, that logic sounds entirely reasonable. But there's no question that this man was responsible for Miss Brett's murder. If we could think of a plausible explanation as to why he might have stabbed her, even after the poisoning, I feel sure that everything would drop into place. That's what we should be looking for. Oh yes, I agree. And in order to do that, I must try to glean more information. Oh yes, I stopped the Englishman. Let's verify this. I'm innocent. Stop the woman for already poisoned her. I heard the second girl. Got my coat. Did we press that?
Hold it!
What exactly? Oh, what they are arguing about. Okay, we did press that. But what happened in that restaurant 9 months ago? Okay. Already saw that. Okay, what's to be heard? Okay, we heard that already.
Objection!
There's no inculpatory evidence to that effect. Prosecution is deliberately leading the court. That's right, and my lawyer will throw you for it if you're not careful. Wait, what? Oh no, don't throw things like that out there.
Let the Yoko student be aware that her humor is not appreciated in this courtroom.
I can't allow the court to be influenced by this reporter's testimony. Renee is the only one who knows what really happened. It was nothing to do with Dr. Wilson, that we are discussing the stolen poison. Okay. Point is if you'd poisoned someone, there'd be no reason to... right, let's save. There'd be no reason to then go and start the person as well. Then maybe that? I don't know.
Objection!
Well, I can think of one reason. What? What? But before I explain, I'd like you to confirm something for the court. Did you glean all the information from for this newspaper article from what you overheard outside the hut?
Of course he did. There can be no question of that. After all, when we were all in the laboratory together, all we were told is that it was a terrible toxin.
And there is one more important fact to consider. According to the witness, Member Misan's verbal attack against the victim began as soon as she entered the hut. In other words, it would have been impossible for her to have slipped the poison into Miss Brett's drink.
Objection!
Where are you going with this, counsel?
Minimo-san has made it quite clear that he observed every single thing that happened in the beach hut. If the defendant had somehow found an opportunity, this man would have seen it. Which means that Miss Brett couldn't have imbibed the poison whilst the defendant was present. In fact, it must have been administered to her before Membami-san entered the hut. Yes. Very articulately put.
When I walked into the hut, I immediately started to press Miss Brett about the poison.
At which point, Minimo-san overheard some worrying information.
Worrying information? What worrying information?
The information which is subsequently included in his newspaper article, namely, that the poison was being developed in strict secrecy and that it couldn't be readily obtained. Absolutely. In fact, that's quite an understatement. The only possible place it could come from is my lab. And furthermore, anyone afflicted by the poison would exhibit telltale signs in death.
The extreme constriction of the pupils. Yes, it's quite stark when you see it.
There are other poisons that show similar symptoms, but not among new substances that are undetectable. In other words, it would be clear that the victim's life had been ended by the use of this particular poison, which would reduce the number of suspects to only a handful of people. Oh! Everyone in my laboratory is aware of the unique properties of the toxin we've been developing. None of them would be foolish enough to attempt to use it for some nefarious deed. Remember Misan being no exception. Therefore, we can conclude that whoever administered this unique poison to the victim was a layperson, unaware of its telltale properties. In other words, someone like you, Light and many more. It was you who stole the poison from the laboratory that day. And it was you who administered it to the unwitting victim. But you quickly realized that was a terrible mistake. Because the poison caused such unusual symptoms and was so traceable. Except it's not that. As you listened in from the far side of the beach hut's thin walls, you learned these facts. But you'd already given the victim the poison at that point. It was too late. So you hatched a plan to disguise your mistake. A plan that involves stabbing the victim in the back through the read screen. Good thing he had a knife though.
Objection!
But what good could that possibly do?
Isn't it obvious, Counsel? The plan was to kill Miss Brett before the poison could take effect. Once in the blood, the poison causes the onset of pupil constriction. But he had hoped to precipitate the victim's death before that happens, hadn't he? Exactly. Because without any revealing signs of the new secret poison's use, no one would ever have suspected.
This is extraordinary.
Ah yes, the effects of the poison meant it would be too easily identified, so the killer had to mask its use. Which he attempted to do by plunging a knife into the middle of the victim's back. Oh!
Order! 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 The argument presented is sound. The court is satisfied that it warrants consideration. Does the prosecution have a counter-argument it wishes to put forward?
Well, there are a number of, yes, I counter completely.
Objection!
The prosecution's evasive response clearly shows that in much the same way as he nurtures the remnant of his topknot, he's clinging to his lost hope.
Lost hope?
What?
Ah, you pathetic, useless, fallen samurai!
Fallen? Who are you calling fallen?
I don't need a counter-argument.
What? What are you talking about?
It should be blatantly obvious. I stole the poisons, you say? Gave it to the victim, you say? Stab her, you say?
Lost her fine theories. Lots of fine theories.
But I don't need a counter-argument, because you don't have an argument yourself. Where's your evidence? Yes, you make it all sound so plausible, don't you? But without evidence, it means nothing.
He's a bit extreme. Yes, he is. Well, everybody is a bit extreme in this game, so...
Whereas I base my news on facts. Facts? What do you mean? Explain yourself. I mean, what the professor said earlier in this trial. It's all here in my many memos.
Many memos? Oh, many memos. Okay, I just realized. Okay.
Every word, every slip of the tongue, all noted. That's what the Shoyu News is famous for. It's the power of the printed words. But surely it would be no easy task to steal a highly secret toxin being developed for the government.
Indeed, all visitors to the laboratory are thoroughly searched when they leave. Even if a thief managed to avoid being seen by myself or a colleague, getting the poison out would be very difficult. How's that then? Blown the story wide open? Say? Aye. Right, and many more. A mere reporter from the Shoyu News. Couldn't possibly have stolen the poison from the professor's laboratory. Ah. But there can't be any question of it. He must have stolen the poison that day. He stole it and used it to kill. And if that's the case, as you have identified, the poison itself is the definitive evidence we need. Because whoever stole it from the laboratory that day is the true culprit here. I'm pretty sure he's not guilty. Well, we'll see. What's your point, you annoyingly handsome country bumpkin? My point is this. There is one way that you, Minimo-san, could have stolen the poison that day. I have heard enough verbal conjecture now. Thank you. What the court must not be shown is evidence. What proof do you have that this witness stole the poison on the day question? The fountain pen. The proof, Your Excellency, is this fountain pen. Oh! A fountain pen? How can that possibly be relevant? These magical pens somehow seem to have enough ink to write many thousands of kanji characters. I believe they arrived in our country for the first time some 15 years ago now. I learned recently that emoji, the emo of emoji doesn't mean like emotion, but e is picture or drawing, and moji is a character in Japanese. So emoji is a drawing character, or well, anyway.
Bah! I swear by a weasel hair calligraphy brush and nothing else. These newfangled pens are merely a fad. Well, as a for one thinking man of words, obviously I love my fountain pen. Suck up a substance of sumptuous ink, and one's work is awash with words in the blink of an eye.
That's right. Fountain pens have a small reservoir in the bell, into which ink is sucked up through the nib of the pen in order to write with later.
What does all this talking of sucking up ink have? Ah!
And just as it's possible to suck ink up into the reservoir, it's also possible to eject it through the nib again, of course. Oh my word! Can this really be? Well, Minimo-san. When you saw the deadly poison before your eyes in the laboratory that day, you used your fountain pen, your very lifeblood, to steal some of it, didn't you? By siphoning the poison up through the nib and into the pen's reservoir.
Objection!
More absurdity! That never happened!
True. We've heard that there were procedures in place to prevent thefts like this from the laboratory. But would anyone have thought to look inside a fountain pen of all places? No. I'm a little ashamed to say that for fear of offending our guests, such a detailed search would not have been conducted. Well, this is quite startling, I must say. I remind the court that this pen was found in the clutches of the victim when she died. In other words, it was dropped at the scene by Minimo-san. Oh, he's sweating. So much sweat. So the crucial question is, when exactly was the pen dropped?
Are you suggesting?
The natural conclusion is that in your haste to act while the victim was distracted for a moment, you dropped the pen after you emptied the poison from it into her glass.
There could be any number of alternative explanations. For example, the witness could have been using this pen to write down details of his conversation with the victim. And when shocked by one of her outrageous answers, the pen fell from his quivering hands.
No, that can't be. If it was, how do you explain why the pen was devoid of ink?
What?
As you can see for yourself, if you examine the evidence, there would appear to be no ink present in the reservoir. What newspaper reporter goes to interview someone with nothing in his pen? No, the pen was dropped after the poison that filled its reservoir had been emptied into the victim's glass.
Witness, what do you have to say in your defense?
Oh, this is how modern justice system works, is it? So what if the ink in my pen runs dry? So what if my pencil snaps? Wow, how many pencils does he have? I can always claw my way back into the game. I have plenty in reserve. Wait, what? You claim I sucked the poison up into my pen. That's wild speculation, nothing more. If you thought you could bring down a fine, upstanding citizen with a trick like that, think again. It looks as though it's going to take one final decisive blow to finish this matter.
As I see it, the situation is not very simple. It rests upon whether or not this witness did indeed steal the poison on the day in question. And therefore, it all depends upon whether or not the defense can prove that he did with evidence.
Huh? No such evidence could possibly exist. Menimo-san, this is how our modern justice system works.
What?
In the courtroom, evidence is everything. Something you would do well to remember. Because we are well past the point of speculation at this stage, I assure you.
Very well then. I call upon the defense to present the aforementioned evidence.
This is it then. This will be the final piece of the puzzle. Ah, the chemical reagent.
Counsel, what is that bottle?
This bottle contains the unique chemical reagent that can identify the poison in question.
Ah!
Yes, that poison is an entirely new synthesis of alkaloids developed by my colleagues and I. It would be impossible to detect traces of it by any other method.
Or, from another perspective, simply with this chemical reagent, anybody at all could check for traces of the poison.
A reagent? What?
One drop of the contents of this bottle on the tip of your fountain pen, Menimo-san, is all it will take to solve this case beyond all reasonable doubt. No, you can't. I won't.
Oh, your cries are bad enough, but at least know when to admit defeat. Your Excellency, the defense requests permission to carry out the test on the fountain pen at once.
Oh! what's going on here? Oh dear. Is he gonna lift off? Sato, with me. I'm there. Double takedown.
Did I do it right? That was a Sato takedown, wasn't it? Not quite. That was a Ryotaro takedown.
A Ryotaro double takedown.
The instant the first drop of the reagent touched the nib of the fountain pen, it was clear to everyone present. When I saw it there in the lab, the poison, the devil got hold of me, and I decided to do it in a whim. I excused myself and emptied all the ink down the sink in the bathroom, washing the reservoir out carefully. Oh, he actually did it. I bet he's gonna say he did not poison the woman. Pretty sure. And then you waited for an opportunity to suck up some of the poison, didn't you? Into your fountain pen.
Yes, that's right. Answer me one thing, Minimo-san. Why did you steal it? For what purpose? Isn't it obvious? To find out what it was made of and expose it in an article. I mean, it was a secret project after all. Too juicy for a journal like me to pass up.
Oh, then why did the Englishwoman end up dead?
I went into that hut, intending to quiz her on her situation. That's all. As a reporter. A known killer, enjoying full freedom, evading justice by leaving the country. I told her when I thought about it. And she just laughed in my face.
Oh, what's this? A Far Eastern caveman purporting to practice journalism? Really, you must learn the difference between reporting and listening at doorways, you ignorant plebeian.
What? What do you call me?
Oh, this country, with its pretensions to a justice system, to a free press, it's really very depressing. You see our superiors' ways in the West, yet you lack the mental capacity to emulate them. Wow. Get out of here, you oaf! Get out and crawl back into the cave you came from.
That's when I remembered about the dirty poison I happened to have in my pen at the time. What a terrible tale. In my head, I knew I should just get out of there as quickly as possible, but I couldn't. I couldn't let her get away with what she'd done, when she clearly had no remorse at all. Oh, I suppose it was my journal spirit, getting all fired up. I'd like to ask you something. Yes? You often talk about justice. But surely, as a journalist, you could have used other means to deliver the justice you thought. There's no justice in the press. Sorry? After that trial 9 months ago, I kept digging and digging to find out what happened in that courtroom. And finally, I discovered the truth. It was a cover-up. That's what it was. A cover-up? What do you mean?
I would remind you of your position, witness. Be careful of what you say. Oh, come on. Doesn't he strike you as strange? We're certainly not allowed to convict a foreign national. Consular jurisdiction should never have come into it. And yet, that puffed-up Englishwoman was going to sail away into the sunset as a free woman. The only possible explanation is that, behind the scenes, some deal had got down between Britain and Japan.
What sort of deal?
Oh, I've done my research, dug up all the dirt. It was all ready to be published.
But you know what happened?
The editor just tore the article up.
He came under pressure from the government, you mean?
If our government is going to let criminals walk free, if they're going to crush the free press, then what choice do I have but to see that justice is done myself?
Let's not forget, Minimo-san, that you committed murder yourself, and you tried to lay the blame at the defendant's door. I'm sorry, but you're no better than Giselle Brett. Oh. What? The truth is, you have no right to talk about justice at all. I suppose.
It would appear that we have reached a conclusion in this trial at last. Counsel for the defense. Ryutaro Naruhodo.
Yes, sorry, Your Excellency, just musing in a madly way here.
It's almost unbelievable that this is your first experience of the Supreme Court. It was an excellent performance. Excellent performance. In truth, it very much reminded me of your cousin's exploits.
Oh, Naruhodo-san. Ryunosuke, you mean?
The way he handled the trial 9 months ago, and the way you handled this one, it gives me hope that we are genuinely entering a new era of justice in this land.
Oh, that's very flattering, Your Excellency.
Hearing the defense you put forward that today made me feel most keenly that the future of our justice system will be forged by you and your contemporaries.
Oh, thank you.
So, Prosecutor Aoshi, do you have any final thoughts?
What? Is he gonna kill himself? Really? Prosecutor Aoshi. I, Taketsushi of the Aoshi clan, have been bested by a callow youth not once now, but twice. If there was any shred of my former self left, it hath withered and died here today. Oh, gosh. Your Your journey into cultural enlightenment sure took a while, didn't it?
Silence! Rather than living on in shame.
Oh god. No, don't do it.
I will end it all now with this blade.
He's gonna cut his hair. Don't worry.
For that is a true path of ouchism.
Oh, he's doing that as well now?
Oh, ouchism?
One hopes that's the only way in which he'll be modeling himself after the witness.
Sprig of my top knot. The time is right for farewell. Oh, hope is lost forever. Takesushi. Ah!
Wait, what's he doing here? Now, in regard to the defendant, remember me-san.
Oh, yes, Your Excellency.
I have reached my final verdict. I hereby find you not guilty.
Oh yeah. Well, okay, so things didn't happen as I thought they happened. I'll tell you my theory after.
Court is adjourned.
th August, 2:38 p.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendant's Antechamber 3. Oh, it's over. My heart is still pounding in my chest, though. It's all I can do it's all I can do just to stay standing. Okay. Lawyers have such a great responsibility, such a great burden to bear. Don't they? Naruhodo-san. Susato! Susato! Thank you. Thank you so much. You were so dashing in there. Oh, Lei. And Father. Honestly, I'm so touched by everything you've... oh no, I think I'm going to cry. Oh, it wasn't easy, but together we made it. I was on the verge of tears at the end too. Oh, the only reason I'm still here is because of you. Oh no, I can't take all the credit. It took courage to tell the truth in there. You did wonderfully, Lei. So I would have to say that the congratulations belong to you. Oh, it's a very Japanese, all that. Oh no, you're welcome. Oh no, you're welcome. Susato, don't be so standoffish. Sorry? We're friends, equals, and the trial's over, so no more of this formal super humility nonsense. It's time to celebrate your swagger, to throw caution to the wind. Caution to the what? I'm the great defense Sawyer, Ryutaro Naruhodo, and I'm taking you out to a milk bar tomorrow. Or something.
Oh, right. I see. I'll think about it. Wait. At any rate, we really knocked the wind out of that horrid man, and it felt so good. Oh yes, it was satisfying. It really was. Isn't there anybody else we could throw together?
I hope you're not looking at me, Lay.
Oh my goodness. No, of course not. Ah, there it is at last. Lay's lovely smile.
You fought for your friend to the very last. As your father, I'm extremely proud of you. Defense attorney, Ryutaro Naruhodo.
Thank you, but I couldn't have done it without your help. Anyway, it's time to bid farewell to Ryutaro, I think. I shall miss him in a way, but it's back to Sato Mikotoba now. Oh, so I'll never see him again then. What a terrible shame. She's in love now. What? Who's that? Whoa! What is happening? Ah, Suzuki-san and Inspector Hosonaga. I do hope you've been keeping well.
Is that really you?
Oh yes, I had to change my appearance for, well, obvious reasons, I hope, but it's me. Susato Mikotoba. Don't. So dashing, so divine. No. Double dashing, yes, and devilishly divine. Just look at you. I had no idea, Miss Sato-san Esquire's, that you were locum student Naruhodo-san Esquire's cousin. Okay, he misunderstood everything. Astonishingly, astounding, Ace Attorney. Poor Suzuki-san, so confused. I still remember the first time I ever met him. He was in a prison cell in London. What an extraordinary conundrum it was that the unwitting student from Japan found himself embroiled in. But after Naruhodo-san's skillful defense at the Old Bailey, Suzuki-san was free to return to Japan. And now he seems to have earned himself great fame as an author.
Oh, Stan! Well, that's a truly impressive disguise!
Oh yeah, and he knows a lot about disguises.
Even I had no idea, and I'm a chief inspector at the police bureau. Who came up with Mr. Turtle, no less? I'm not sure you should be admitting to that, Inspector. Oh, amazing. You're a woman of many faces, I see.
Just two, really. And this was a once-in-a-lifetime event. I hope. Oh, I'm not a patch on you, though, Inspector.
Well, I am a professional, of course.
I do worry about Inspector Hosonaga sometimes. I really do. I really ought to see a doctor, this guy. 9 months ago, when he appeared here at the Supreme Court to testify, he was undercover, disguised as the head waiter of a restaurant. And then, on the steamship to Great Britain, of course, disguised as a sailor to keep us safe on the journey. Though, that didn't help you, did it? Kazuma-sama.
From my perspective, I have to admit that I have mixed feelings about all this. I mean, now the truth has been lost forever.
What do you mean?
I'm talking about the murder that the Englishwoman committed at the end of last year.
Oh, yes. It was an English doctor she killed, as I understand it.
Dr. John H. Wilson, yes. The man I invited to Japan, personally. The mystery is, why did she kill him? And now that the culprit herself is dead, we'll probably never know the answer.
Oh. On the voyage to Great Britain, we had a most unexpected encounter with Mr. Sherlock Holmes. I'm really tired, I'm gonna go to bed now. Good night.
Oh, okay.
Have a good night, Mrs.
Yes, I remember Mr. Sholmes as well, of course.
Oh, my arch nemesis. How likely do you utter his name? Oh, well, according to the stories published about him in The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, the detective once had a partner who helped him solve crimes, a best friend. And that man was an exceptional doctor of medicine by the name of John H. Wilson. What? Dr. Wilson? I just can't believe that it's a coincidence. I think that the English doctor of medicine killed here in Japan 9 months ago must have been the friend and partner of Mr. Sholmes. And if that really is true, then the poor girl will never see her beloved father again.
As you know, I traveled to Great Britain once myself to study. It was around the time you were born.
Oh, yes, grandmother told me about it.
On returning to Japan, I took up my professorship at the Imperial Yume University. But I also served another role, as an advisor to the government on diplomatic affairs.
Oh, yes, I was aware of that as well.
In that case, I'm sure you understand that there are some confidential matters I cannot divulge to you.
What? Could you just tell me one thing? Why did you summon me back to Japan? It's been 2 months now since I returned. When I left England, it was because an urgent telegram had arrived from Japan. It said that it collapsed with a high fever, and you were growing weaker by the day. What? Where did that news come from? That's what I'd like to know, because after that long sea voyage, I found you in fine health, Father. Was there something in Great Britain that you perceived might inconvenience me in some way, or harm me? That's really the only explanation I can think of.
Dear me, do you reserve your most cutting glares for your father, Sato? I'm sorry, my dear. I see.
Oh, let me go.
Wait, what?
What's going on? Minimo-san. So, one throw wasn't enough for you?
I've got one last thing to say before they take me away. Professor! Me? I know the truth. I know you had a hand in what went on. In that visiting student's fate.
That visiting student?
Visiting student? Just say it,
No, not her. The student of law who left for Great Britain 8 months ago.
What? Student of law? He must mean... Kazuma-sama. What are you talking about? What does any of this have to do with Kazuma-sama?
Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know that the guy never made it to England, that he died on that steamship, and that he never... Ah!
Wait, what?
Oh, Supreme Court Judge stay down. Well, I didn't expect to find him in here. What were you officers playing at? Oh, terribly sorry, Your Excellency. I was coming to tell you that the rickshaw has arrived, Eugene, and it's a good job I came by.
Yes, thank you for dealing with him. And I'll be there shortly. Oh, Your Excellency.
Ha 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 ha. The trial's over. I'm not Your Excellency anymore. Merely your father's friend, Seiichiro Jigoku. And may I say that since I saw you last, you seem to have taken on a more dashing appearance. Susato. Oh, he knew! He knew all along.
Oh, did you know all along? From the start of the trial?
Ho 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 ho. The judge sees everything, Susato.
I couldn't let you take the risk if Seiichiro here hadn't known, and then he'd recognized you. So I had a word in his ear beforehand, as an old friend. So, Seiichiro, shall we?
Yes, having ruled on that case, we now have various diplomatic issues to address.
Before you go, Father.
Sorry, my dear. We shall have to return to our earlier conversation at a later date. But well done again, both of you. You did admirably.
Oh, thank you very much.
What did you think of my Seiichiro string, eh? It's been a while since I sent a man flying like that. Ha 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 ha.
Whatever could Father be hiding from me? About Giselle, Brett, about Dr. Wilson. And now, it seems, according to the reporter, about Kazuma-sama. I'm going to have to bring this up with Father sometime. When nobody else is around. Judicial Assistant Mikotoba-san is Squires. Could I have a word? Oh, yes, of course, Seki-san. What is it? I think perhaps it could be fate that we are meeting again like this now. You see, there's something I need to tell you. Oh, I believe that it may be related to the reason why your father summoned you back from England. Huh? Oh, this I have to hear. Please, Suzuki-san, tell me at once. I will! As you know, my time in England was terrible. Cursed, I have no doubt. Such awful thing I was embroiled in. Thank goodness, locum student Naruhodo-san, Esquire, stepped in. After he secured my freedom, I couldn't wait to get on a ship back here to my own homeland. Having arrived in Japan, I submitted a report about my experiences to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The next thing I knew, I had a visitor. It was your father, Professor Mikotoba. He wanted to ask me all sorts of things about my report. Oh, my father? He seemed to be especially taken with a particular part of the report. Anyway, he left eventually.
having thoroughly quizzed me. But it was the very next day that he sent a telegram to you, asking for you to return to Japan. What was it then? That particular part my father wasn't interested in. Oh, I don't really know exactly. Oh, but do you remember then those 2 terrible cases I was caught up in? Oh, of course, I could never forget. Wait, 2 cases? 2 cases? Yeah. Your father seemed to concern himself mainly with the second case. The second one? You mean the one Mr. Scholes forbade any of us to talk about in public? Wait, what? Which is why the only case involving you that any member of the public is aware of is the first. Well, I don't care. I don't have to listen to what that dastardly detective says. Anyway, the point is, it seems that case somehow holds the key to all these curious and unanswered questions. That horrific, hideous, heinous case. The case of the haunted lodgings. What? That case somehow caused my father to summon me urgently back to Japan. I thought that whole business was over, but it seems I was wrong. Perhaps that was only the start. Perhaps the story is not yet told.
So, the mystery of that English woman's death is solved, thank goodness. And having stood in the Supreme Court now, I think I can comprehend a little better. How you must be feeling as you fight for people's freedom in a foreign land, Naruhodo-san. But actually, I'm writing to you today because of another matter. I met Soseki-san and we talked about that second case he was involved in. Father has said nothing to me, but I feel certain of it. That case holds the key to some great unsolved mystery. My notes on the case should still be in the office, tucked away at the back of the shelves on the left. Perhaps you might like to look over them again. Today, for the first time this year, it feels as though summer has arrived. The sky is a brilliant blue. It makes me long to see you again. Yours, Susato.
Kind of weird that she was pronouncing Soseki-san correctly, but Naruhodo-san, not really. And even Susato. Alright, well, we're gonna end that on this note for today. Wow. So, okay, I have to explain what my theory was. I actually thought that the Giselle Brett did poison herself by mistake. I thought she would have licked the tip of the pen while trying to write, and then that would have been how she would have ingested the poison. But well, that wasn't the case. Alright, anyway, thanks for being with me tonight. As usual, please take care and stay safe. And I hope to see you soon. Bye.